Welcome to GrowthToFreedom.com, the show that brings you inspiration, transformation, and leadership. We're helping you connect the dots, see the blind spots, and get unstuck so you can go create more sales, more growth, more profits, and more so you can have a bigger impact, a bigger reach, and make a bigger contribution. And if that's what you want, you are going to love today's episode, today's segment, today's session. Why? Well, what would it be worth if you could learn what some of the top visionary founders are doing in one of the fastest growing industries in the world, in the SaaS business, software as a service? Would you like to know some of the strategies that are working, also some that are not working, what to do, what not to do as it comes to building your operating system around marketing, around sales, and a whole lot more? Well, if so, then you are going to love today's segment called Visionary Founders. Now, this episode is also a special episode because I was asked to speak in an event, a mastermind, if you will, for these visionary founders in the SaaS industry, where I customized the presentation, and we talked about the process called HOP, H-O-P. It's a process we've used for over 2 decades. It's a process that worked then, it's a process that works now, and it's a process that will work for you starting today. So if you're looking for a way to get more sales, get more clients, apply some of what's working in the SaaS industries to your business, I think you're going to love this segment. Oh, by the way, if you want to come back to this episode, you can do that by going to growthtofreedom.com/309. That's growthtofreedom.com/309. If you never want to miss an episode, you can go to growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. That's growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. And while we're at it, if you're looking for a way to be able to get more new clients with less stress, to be able to have an opportunity to triple your business with less stress, and get an operating system for your sales and marketing implemented and installed, where you can be in your sweet spot and you can have someone basically acting as the virtual CMO or the virtual marketing team for you, then let's have a conversation and see if we've got a right fit. We are so blessed and so fortunate to work with dozens and dozens of private clients right now to help them grow their impact with a lot less stress by putting in these proven strategies, proven methodologies. And you can take the first step right now with our 100% free consultation and strategy call. You can do that by going to breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. And in addition to that, if you're looking for a way to understand what's working for visionary founders, maybe like you, then enjoy this segment with my good friend, Krall, the founder of Visionary Founders. We'll see you soon. Check this out. Here we go.
I just want to introduce Dan by saying that he is one of the people that the experts go to when they need to have major breakthroughs. I'm going to just read a list of some of the clients and people that he's worked with. Some of these names may mean nothing to you because they're not in SaaS. Some of them you may recognize. Joe Polish with the Genius Network. I think you were actually the CEO of Genius Network. Weren't you? Yep. Growth Institute with Vern Harnish. A lot of these, Vern Harnish, Joe, Dean Graziosi, Mike Aguilera, T. Harv Eker. A lot of these people, if you have books on my shelf, Millionaire Mindset, and some other books that I know Vern Harnish and T. Harv Eker have written some really good books, and they're phenomenal people. And Dan has had a really interesting life. 11 years ago, you had a life-threatening illness. Yep. Dan, is that right?
Yep.
And if you get to know him, you'll see a scar on his head that I think you love. And it says, I think you told me that it's one of those things that reminds you that you're unstoppable, and imperfections are your perfections, which I really love. That's fantastic. Right. Yep. Yeah. So today, when first of all, if you stay to the end, we have a really special gift for you that's just for SaaS visionaries. And I'm not just saying that to kind of get you to stick around, although I am hoping that you'll stick around. We kind of negotiated something for you. He's going to give something away to the group. That's going to be really helpful. But today we're going to talk about what he's calling the 5 strategies to 3x growth and reduce churn in 30 days. This will help you make more money. It'll help you stand out in your crowd. And because a lot of us are competing against what I really hate is when you have a better product and your inferior competitors taking your market share. And so that's one of the things that I teach, and Dan is going to talk about this: how to attract your perfect clients, and not be at risk of becoming a statistic or commoditized, which is what a lot of our biggest fears are. And he's going to show you firsthand how to get a proven, what he calls an operating system for marketing and sales in place, so you can have a bigger impact, reach, and contribution. So with that, Dan, I introduce you to SaaS Visionaries. Welcome, and I'll let you take it from here. Oh, and if you have questions in the chat, Dan is not going to be looking at the chat. I'll be looking at the chat and writing down questions that you have for him. At the end of his presentation, we'll open it up for Q&A, where you can ask Dan anything that you have, questions about anything around whatever we've talked about or what we haven't talked about. That's because sometimes things come up. Dan has done a lot of stuff. He grew a company to 175 employees with 20 million revenue. He sold a bunch of companies. And so if you have any questions about that, please ask him. But today, my goal is that you will walk away with some huge major breakthrough in your business that will take you to the next level. So with that, Dan, I'm going to mute myself, and I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. So do you guys remember being a kid? Do you guys remember getting that around maybe this time of year when you were little? This was like a big gift for me when I was a kid. I'll talk more about that later. But, you might be asking, well, Dan, why are you holding this little Rubik's Cube, right? Well, this Rubik's Cube has everything to do with your SaaS company, right? And the reason is I don't know if you know this or not. Many of you probably know this, but Google actually studied the Rubik's Cube. And do you realize there are actually over 18 million combinations to solve this little 3x3x3 puzzle? 18 million plus. And what they found also is that if you know the code, there's actually 18 to 20 moves that will work all the time, every time, 100% of the time if you know what those 18 to 20 are. And that has a lot to do with your business, doesn't it? Right? Sometimes it can feel a little crazy, a little overwhelming. Experts are saying to do this, do that. They contradict each other, etc. But what if you could get to the core 18 to 20 moves that really matter? How would that impact you heading into this next 12 months? How would it impact you in the next quarter? To simplify things, to get ultimate clarity, to get you out of the day-to-day of your business if you just had the proven path of the 18 to 20 things that mattered. So my goal today is to introduce you, and I'm going to share my screen here real quick. And by the way, if you could do me a favor, could you type your industry or service in the chat window for all of us to see, including me? That would be really helpful because this is going to be a very personalized presentation, and we're going to open it up to Q&A. I asked a friend, a peer, and also someone I got a chance to mentor many years ago to join me. How many of you guys know who Jay Abraham is? Can you raise your hand, put a thumbs up or something? So Jay Abraham has become a good friend over the years. And one of the things Jay talks about, if you follow his work, and if you don't, no big deal, he's considered like the $100 billion man or whatever, the highest paid consultant in the world, according to recent statistics. And if you follow Jay, he says the best way to learn and shorten the learning curve is to learn outside of your industry. So I asked one of my friends and peers and also someone I mentored years ago, Nate Slade, to join me. And when we get to the fifth strategy with what we'll go through, I've asked Nate to join me because that's going to be Q&A. Nate has built not one, not two, but 3 companies. Recently, just in the last X number of days, in fact, he actually exited an e-commerce business, and he's taken a lot of the strategies we've shown him and applied it in an industry that really isn't used to putting them in place, and completely transformed not only his business to make it valuable to exit and sell, but also people are now starting to knock that off and copy it. And the highest form of flattery many times is, duplication, right? So we got a lot of great stuff we're going to walk you through here as we go. So we're going to introduce you to the 5 strategies to 3x growth and also decrease churn in 30 days. And also introduce you to the idea of building your operating system for sales and marketing to get you out of the day. This is what's working today, by the way. I'm very active, not only with my business, but we work with about 20 private clients. Most of them are 7- and 8-figure businesses. Many of them have a goal to exit and sell and or get free from the day-to-day. And so I want to introduce you to some of the things that are working right now that you can apply. And when you leave, we're going to show you a method of how to fill your pipeline with high-value premium clients who are pre-sold on working with you by having an blank in place. The simple approach to blank so you can immediately get more clients, revive old leads, and reduce your churn. How to blank by blank with inquiries and convert 4 out of 10 additional new clients. How to position yourself as a go-to authority and expert in your industry by blankety blank your process, and your clients will say the number one thing instead of blank that you need to get and keep them as a client and a whole lot more. Now, by the way, you don't know what blank is, but this is for you. If maybe you're frustrated that you're not attracting as many SaaS clients and feel in some ways deep down like you're like the world's best kept secret at some level, or it's for you if you want a system for generating a steady flow of new clients daily without risking money on advertising, right? Or you want to reduce churn of your clients starting right now. Now, why is this important, right? There are so many great SaaS entrepreneurs. Aaron alluded to this just a little bit ago, right? Where you have a superior service or a superior product or both, yet someone else is dominating the marketplace. And the world has changed, right? So I want to introduce you to some things that are going to help you immediately today that you can implement. Not theory, but actually things that will work for you. Now, I want to hit with, this idea of what are some of the biggest mistakes that we see. Aaron and I were on a training platform with a community that we're a part of, a mastermind that I was asked to speak at. And this guy, Brandon, to the left, asked the group, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making in their business? You might want to grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, kind of tune in to see if you can relate to some of these, right? Number one is the big mistake that people make, or this would be number 6. I'm going to go in reverse order. Focusing on tactics versus principle-based strategies. So many people get caught up on focusing on tactics and not principle-based concepts. In other words, they're not focused on timeless things. They're focused on timely, the magic red button, the magic copy line, the magic sentence, right? Those are tactical. And although tactical is supportive, when you get the principle-based strategies right, you make yourself bulletproof. You put a moat around your castle called your business, called your SaaS company. Why is this important? Have you ever known somebody that was absolutely crushing it for 6 months, a year, even a couple years, and then all of a sudden some big blue company or some Google company comes in and changes an algorithm and they're out of business 3 months later? Have you guys seen this happen? I've seen it happen too often. I've been impacted by these types of things. And that's why this is one of the most important things. Next, the offer is good, yet not irresistible. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this one. So I'm not going to go too deep right now on that because I want to show you some ideas and insights on how to think about building an irresistible offer. Number 4 in the list, lacking authority, right? There's a lot of marketing experts out there that teach in order for them to buy from you, they must know, like, and trust you. And that's the biggest line of bullshit that I've seen so many good, hardworking people follow that will take you to a path called broke. And the reason is maybe this applies to you, but maybe it doesn't. We've done a lot of surveys with entrepreneur CEOs. Literally, we've reviewed over 4,000 companies in the last few years alone, and we've surveyed the people who run them. And the large majority of them are introverts, over 70%, and are people pleasers. And so if you teach a people pleaser and an introvert to build a model based on likability, it becomes a business where they're begging instead of attracting. And we've discovered that the nuance to this is not like and trust. but rather trust and respect. Because think about it. Let's just go to common sense. Have you ever bought something from somebody you didn't know well enough to like or not like? Of course you have. So if it's all based on know, like, and trust, well, why is it that so many times we buy stuff we've never met and we don't know if we like or trust them? It's more important to have people trust and respect us, right? And we'll get more into that as well. Next, number three, they lack a model that moves people through the journey. In fact, if you can draw a line on your sheet of paper, I want you to be, and we're going to get into this journey process in a bit. But as you think about your client journey, there's the client journey called, warm up. Then there's where there's an offer, and then there's the follow-up, right? Now, done right, when your warm up, your offer, and your follow-up are really systematized and working well, you have tremendous impact. It's called ROI3. What is ROI3? ROI3 goes beyond the return on investment. Of course, we all want a return on investment. Of course, we want $5 for every dollar we spend on whatever we spend on employees, staff, advertising, and a whole lot more. But if you really stopped and factored, what is at each of those levels, your warm-up, your offer, and your follow-up, what the return on interaction is? Like, what is that interaction like? Have you really charted that path? Or how about the return on implementation of something? And more importantly, what's the cost of not measuring your return on implementation or not measuring your return on interaction, right? That's why this journey becomes so important. And we're only going to have time to go into a little bit of it today, but hopefully this opens a new way of thinking for you. Number 2 on the list of 6 biggest mistakes, lacking an operating system for marketing and sales. Sales is here, marketing is here, and they kind of work on islands instead of being functionally set up to operate together. And when you get them to operate together, you get exponential lifts. We'll talk about some of that too. And the number 1 mistake is actually letting automation get in the way of you making an impact and making more money. And we're going to spend a lot of time on that. Now, how many of you guys have had experience with some of these 6 mistakes? Can you be a truth teller? Or is it just a couple of us? Okay. Dan Sullivan has a great quote. I think it's an AA quote, but I'll give him credit for it, which is the first progress starts by telling the truth, right? So, the fact of the matter is how much are these mistakes costing most companies, most founders, not just financially, but also stress, costing being away from family or having to be on call at the damn holidays, right? Or having to be doing text messages with people, on Christmas Eve or on, New Year's Eve or whatever, when you would probably want to be doing something more productive with your family. And I've been there. I'll talk about that. In fact, let me share a little bit about my background. So my name is Dan Kushel, my husband and dad, 1A and 1B, then everything else, right? I'm a founder of a company called Breakthrough 3X, author of 4 best-selling books. Forbes rated our show, Growth to Freedom, as one of the top shows available. I've had over 250,000 clients, most of them online. We've had over 2.1 million subscribers for our online resources and tools. I've helped founders and CEOs from 180 industries in 11 different countries. I've been blessed to partner, and Aaron mentioned a handful of the names. I've partnered and worked with some of the biggest names and brands in the industry. I don't know if you know this guy in the top left. Most people don't, but they know his brand, which is called ESPN. He was the founder. His name's Bill Rasmussen. Dean Graziosi, Joe Polish, Vern Harnish, and Daniel Marcos, who are partners, Janet Atwood, and a whole lot more. I've been very blessed, especially in the last decade or so of my life. And all of it's been a blessing, but I've had some rocky roads to get here. And, in fact, our top client has paid us like $970,000 to work with them. Why? Because we've helped them grow over $10 million. And so, the thing is you're working with Aaron, right, in his Visionaries program, or some of you are considering moving and working with him in his Accelerator program. Like, think about it. Like, if someone were able to help you grow by 10 million, like, what would you pay for that, right? It becomes free. Done right, it should be free. Like, if you're working with Aaron in his Accelerator program, it's free. I mean, his promise is essentially in 12 months, he'll help you grow by an additional $1 million. Like, that should be free. And ideally, you see the value of that at some point, right? Or in the Visionaries program. you're getting access to all the amazing leaders and so on, right? So for me, though, it wasn't always a success path. When I started, incorporating online strategies to build and grow my businesses, I struggled for my first 6 months or longer, in fact. And I remember I was sitting in my office one day. I had a small team, and I was sitting there, and I'd like to do this exercise. I encourage you to think about this exercise too as a strategy for you. Is every month I like to sit down and go, what do I have to do to double? And sometimes the double is time off, sometimes the double revenue, double profits, double, different parts of the business. I like to think in terms of doubling all the time. And when you double all the time over a course of a year, you start to get some substantial exponential return. But at this particular time, I had a small team, about 18, 20 people. I was in my small office, and I started thinking about what it would take to double our revenue. And I started breaking out, and I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but I started breaking out in a cold sweat. I started getting nauseous. I started getting this pit in my stomach. I started like almost like kind of dry heaving. And the reason is I came to the reality as I was scratching out this game plan on a piece of paper, what would it take to double, that I was going to have to double my staff. And that freaked the hell out of me, frankly, going from 20 people to 40. I already had enough headaches and enough, overwhelm and overload, right? And so it was scary and it was nervous. And at the same time, I was thinking there's got to be a better way. And that's where I started incorporating or trying to incorporate some of these online things. But what happened is after multiple attempts online, I questioned whether I was good enough. I had that little voice going back and forth. I mean, I put out an offer and it didn't work. I put out another offer, it didn't work. Put out another offer, it didn't work. I mean, this went on 6, 7, 8 times over a few months. And I was ready to give up, but I felt completely fried and burnt out. And I was tired of everything being on my shoulders. I had all these people, them and their families. And if you guys have employees, you know what I'm talking about. And I felt like the weight of the world was on me from my wife and my kids. And it was stressful. And it kind of looked like this. I was torn. We had basically a model that was 1 month it was profitable, another month we'd lose some money. Quarterly, it was kind of this kind of roller coaster. And it felt like manual labor. And I was intrigued by it. How can I do this online thing and automate most of it and, create these systems and all these sorts of things. And it was you can see I went from that to this. I literally pulled all my hair out. And there came a day where I let go. Right. And again, coming back to this cube, right? You don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. Now, I don't know if you have an ego, but here's what I know. I got a huge ego. And letting go of any control is super hard for me. If you got to know me, you would still know that that's kind of the case even today. My wife would definitely tell you that, right? And here I was 6 months of beating my head against the wall, doing it my way. And, I didn't stop, of course, running my business, but one of the partnerships that we were looking to develop. I don't know how many of you guys have ever heard of the 2 Comma Club. Anybody heard of the 2 Comma Club? If you haven't, no big deal. So my friend Joshua created the 2 Comma Club and then later sold it to the person who owns it today. And he had the 2 Comma Club, and what it was at that time was a newsletter publication. And we had integrated some software into this thing, right? A software service tied with the newsletter. And Joshua had created it. He had 20, 30, 40 different editions wrapped in packaged in this delivery system. And in my business, I wanted another recurring revenue stream. And I was toying with the idea I was going to do it, but here I was still trying to figure out, beat my head against the wall of, creating an online sales system, and it just wasn't working, right? So Joshua had come into town. He came into Phoenix at the airport Hilton. We sat down, and you ever meet people, you get into these conversations of ideas, and it sounds good, looks good, and then it's months later before you're finally getting a deal done. You ever had that happen? That isn't what happened with Joshua and I. He came to Phoenix. We talked about the idea. I said, I want to bring this into our fold. I had thousands of customers and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I knew I didn't want to be writing this dang thing and doing all the work. He already had it all, this technology already done, and we partnered. And that day we partnered. We agreed on the percentage that day. And I'm an implementation type of person. I build good teams to get stuff done for people. We literally built the model, launched it that day, that afternoon in the hotel, and he walked out of there with clients. And I walked out of there with new recurring revenue and a new sense of freedom with another recurring revenue stream. And he asked me a great question. This is a question you might want to get in the habit of asking because it's an amazing, simple question. What's the biggest thing you need the most help with right now? And I said, I've been beating my head against the wall trying to figure out this, online conversion thing. Would you take a look at it? He goes, of course, absolutely. I gave him all our materials, stacked them up. He flew home. He called me back the following week and said, Dan, I've got good news and I've got bad news. What do you want for? I said, well, bad news. He says, well, I can't work with what you've got. The good news is I love what you're doing. The quality, the integrity, all the stuff, the packaging is amazing. Would you allow me to help you? And I said, yeah, of course. So what he did, but now, by the way, I have a strong ego. Bedros Killian, I don't know if you know Bedros, big in the fitness industry. Bedros says, my ego is not my amigo, right? And I had a choice to make. Keep doing it my way, struggle, hit a wall, be plateaued, roller coaster rides, etc., and be prideful, or I could let go a little and just, why not just try it? Why not just give it a shot? What's the worst that could happen? I ultimately, reluctantly, with a lot of resistance, just said, I'll try it. And so Joshua interviewed me multiple times. He interviewed my staff. He got our staff to interview our clients. Again, all of these principles you're pulling out of here as I'm sharing the story, like are real life things you can be doing to help your business right now. And we did this over the course of about 30 days or so, 45 days. And then we co-worked on this sales process and the letter and the method and the model. And we launched it about 90 days later. And what happened was flipping unbelievable. And it was the day, literally the day or time my life transformed. Because in less than 90 days, we launched and we generated more sales online than our entire team of 20 reps. But I was skeptical. It's like, we had this build up because I had a lot of subscribers and clients over a couple years that we had already built up. And so I was like, what's it going to be like on day 2 after the initial launch or surge of about day 3? And it just steadily kept going and kept going and kept going. So we turned up the spigot on advertising and traffic, and this continued. And before we knew it, we were generating over 300 clients for our primary model. And then we grew the recurring revenue model to over 5,000 clients a month. That became something he ended up selling off to another party that you may know of. What made the difference are these things. Again, just to kind of summarize, because there's a lot of lessons in already in these couple segments. We created an irresistible offer that we got people to buy from us versus having to be sold. You might want to write that down. Build a buyer's model, not a selling model. What is Apple so good at? What is Starbucks so good at? People aren't being sold to go there. They buy into the method. That's where that warm-up, offer, follow-up comes in, the ROI cubed. Right next, where we're positioned as an authority, probably for the first time, and I learned what that was about. We'll share some of those insights with you too. We learned to build a list of clients and potential clients, massive. We had a conversion model that brought us clients every day online predictably. And we had a follow-up system to communicate and convert those clients every day. And I felt like I got a new chance, another chance. And I went to work even harder. And we grew this thing to over, as Aaron mentioned, over 20 million a year. And then I was blessed. We helped over 200,000 clients. I got to coach over 5,000 founders in over 180 different industries, grew the business to over 500 grand a week, right? I got great opportunities to meet people like Richard Branson and hang out more than a few times over on his island and cool things. I sold not one, but 2 companies off the momentum and also off the wisdom that we grew. And now we get people coming to us. So Dan, hey, could you help me do that? I'd love to learn how to get free or get out of my business. Either way, right? So I'm going to introduce you how you can get a perfect client blueprint in place so you can 3x your growth and reduce churn despite what's going on in the world today. Now, by the way, here are the 5 strategies we're going to walk through and spend some time on. Strategy 1, how you can get 10 times the results by getting your irresistible offer in place. Strategy 2, the high touch, high conversion method that brings you clients and converts old leads while your competition quietly wonders if they'll even be able to make it another year. Strategy 3, the first thing to incorporate that gets clients in reduced churn. Strategy 4, the integrated approach to get clients to say, you get me. And not only do they order, they reorder and stay for life. Strategy number 5, our bonus Q&A session. Like I mentioned, I introduce you to Nate Slade and some of the great techniques he's put in place outside of traditional means in that niche, in that industry, that many of you will be able to put in place as well. Now, by the way, if we cover these 5 strategies, how many of you would consider that this would be a valuable hour or so spent together? Would you guys agree? Okay. Now, by the way, you might be wondering, you might be going, Dan, are you going to sell us something? Yes, absolutely. But you bet I am. Here's what I'm going to sell you. I'm going to sell you on your bigger future today. I don't have a product to sell. No, I don't. I break a lot of rules when I do this stuff. I've been very blessed over the course of my life that, whether I sell something to you today or not isn't going to impact me at all. And I'm grateful for that. And I don't say that with arrogance. I say that with a lot of humility. And I love to be able to give and provide value and so on. And if there's a fit at some point down the road, either you refer us to somebody you think is good for us, or maybe we end up working together too, right? So let's dive into it. Strategy number 1, how to get 10 times the results by getting your irresistible offer in place. First thing to do, and please don't take this lightly. There's a tendency sometimes for people to go, I already fill in the blank. You know what I'm going to say. I already know that. Well, here's how you know it, is you've got results coming out of your you-know-what, right? The key is keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Chances are at the level most of you are playing, especially if you're playing in Aaron's role as a visionary leader, you need new ideas like you need a hole in your head. You don't need new ideas. You need more things to implement. I want to show you some simple things. Again, these are proven to work and many times help companies grow more than 3x, grow 10x and 20x many times. So get inside your prospect's head. When's the last time you made 5 phone calls, 10 phone calls to your best clients and asked them these questions? What are you worried about right now? You'll learn more in 5 minutes by calling your 5 to 10 best clients and going, hey, what are you worried about right now? Than dreaming up all the sophisticated fancy pants funnels, models, copy, all this nonsense. Get in real conversation. What are you worried about right now? Right? Another key thing to ask or think about, what breakthrough outcome transformation experience do you desire? Right? And also tune into the language they use, not what you think it is. What are they saying? You'll start to hear these repetitive themes, the repetitive ways they say things. Right? Hey, working with us, what's the dream come true solution? If we could offer it to you, what would it be? Now, as simple as this sounds, usually I'll present like this to high level groups like this and like you, and about 75% won't do anything with it, but the 25% who do, the feedback we get on the result they get from it is off the charts. So I encourage you, although it's simple, get in these conversations and get inside your prospect's heart and their head. Now, I'll just give you a quick thing. Where did I learn how to build an irresistible offer, truthfully, accidentally, when I was 22 years old. I started my first company in 1992, probably before some of you were born. And it was before the internet, and it was in the business of direct mail, radio, TV offerings. And that's what we did. And I focused on health club owners. And we had a software. I had a guy I hired. He took a buyout from Apple. His name was Cyrus. And I had him create a custom SaaS program that we worked with health club owners. And we would go to them. We had this unique technology and training combined with client generation. And we'd go, if you were a client or you owned a health club, let's say Malin, I'd go to Malin and say, Malin, if we could show you a way to help you generate 200 clients in the next 60 days, and there's no risk to you, our company will actually run the ads for you on TV, radio, and direct mail, and then we'll split the profits. Would you want to know more about it? 7 out of 10 people we made that irresistible offering to would say yes, and then we'd screen them. Client selection, that's been another one of my big mistakes. Client selection, I saw that somebody, fired some wrong clients, it looked like in the initial start of this. It's so important to focus on your client selection. Like, who do you want as your perfect ideal client? What are their characteristics? What are their qualities? I wasn't as good as it back in 1992, and I still believe I'm getting better at it every day. But man, when I see people in their companies, I see potential, right? Maybe you know what I mean. And so we would screen out the clients, and out of the 7 that would say yes, we'd narrow down to like 3 or 4, and then out of 3 or 4, we'd usually enroll 1 to 2 pretty consistently. And my first 6 months in business, we did over $1 million in revenue. It was pretty amazing, right? But then I learned something, I didn't know how to run a company at that time, truth be told. I found myself good at being able to get clients, good at being able to help my clients get clients, but what I was not good at 22 years old in 1992 was running a damn business. And so that business ultimately crashed and burned, and although I have a sad story I could wrap around, it's on me. I mean, my best friend business partner emptied our bank account at one point and left me, empty, and I had to regroup, but that's on me because I didn't know how to set up a business or a partnership or any of those kind of fairly important things when you're running a business. And how do you learn them? Many times you learn them if you don't have guidance, like working with someone like Aaron in this community or other communities like this, or being mentored by somebody. You have these hard lessons, right? And many of you probably have your own version. The key is the irresistible offer. Fast forward, we've created thousands and thousands and thousands of irresistible offers. I want to show you some of the strategies to think about in creating yours right now. Right? And look at what can you do to reset, even if your offer's killing it right now. What if you could make it even better? What if you could take it up just 10%, 20%? So if some of you are just killing it, and I know some of you are, don't make light of the simplicity. I challenge you to focus on what would happen if I could just improve it 10% more, 20% more, 50% more? Now, some of you are struggling with your offer. Well, let's give you some keys, whatever level you're at in your SaaS business, to be able to take it to the next level. First, what would happen if you could give people the perception they could get results in advance? Right? How could you offer your software in a way like we did in the health club business all the way back in prehistoric days? I get it. It's like the stories of walking barefoot through the snow that your parents told, my parents told me, your parents told you probably, right? How could you give the perception and feeling that you could help your clients get results in advance? Really key strategy. Number 2 is, how can you deliver it in a way where they feel minimal or no risk, or what Jay Abraham's term is called risk reversal? What would happen? Those 2 things right there, what would you have to do to create the perception and feeling, results in advance, and no risk, right? Dean Jackson has been called the Buddha of marketing. And he has a very simple way of describing it. He called this cheese versus whiskers, right? And what is that? If you're a mouse, right? So your client will call a mouse for now. No, please don't misread this when I'm saying it's his analogy of cheese versus whiskers. So what a mouse wants more than anything in the world is to eat a lot of cheese, right? And so that's the outcome, that's the benefit, that's the breakthrough, that's the transformation. They want cheese. So what do they need to avoid? They need to avoid the pain of whiskers. What are whiskers? Cats eating them, right? Or another pain to avoid is a mousetrap, right? So cheese versus whiskers. We need both in our offerings. Are you putting both in your offer? Or are you only selling the benefit and the outcome? Or are you showing them how to avoid the pain, the cost of inaction, the cost of not doing it with you, the cost of sanity, the cost of, simplicity? What is the cost of that? Chaos, overwhelm, burnout, and a whole lot more, which, many of you have services. You can solve most people's problems just with the right packaging, cheese versus whisker. Another issue, Joe Polish, who's had been a client of ours that Aaron had brought up earlier, the worst offer you can make is no offer at all. Here's a question I have for all of you today. How many offers have you made today so far? If it's 0, there's a problem. How many offers did you make yesterday? If it's 0 or 1, maybe there's a problem. How about the day before? How about last week? How about the week before? How many offers has Apple made today, you think? They're probably going to make 200 and 300 offers. They're online, they're offline, TV, radio, Now you might go, well, Dan, we don't have the budget that those companies. It's not about the budget. It's not about resources. It's about being resourceful. What could you do to be resourceful to make consistent offers every day? Now I hear what some of you are probably saying in your mind, right? Well, I would feel like I'm too salesy or too hypey if I made offers every day. That's because you just don't feel comfortable yet on how to actually put out a good offer. A good offer doesn't feel like you're selling. A good offer feels like they're buying. It's a buyer's offer, not a selling offer. We'll show you some strategies on how to do that.
And can I pause you real quick on that? I think even the term offer has a lot of different definitions. Can you just define what would you consider to be an offer?
Absolutely. How about this? We'll simplify it like basic level. It's making an invitation to take action. That's simple, right? Making an invitation to take action and move forward, right? So take out offer, take out selling. It's just an invitation. All of us have recommended good movies and restaurants. That's an offer, or it's an invitation, or both, right? It's an invitation. So, for example, many of you are in the SaaS business, and you know this far better than I do, right? But let's talk about two historic companies, right? MSN launched Hotmail. And do you realize that their approach is called by invitation only when they started? When they launched Hotmail, and I might have the stats, I don't have them in front of me, so I'm doing this off the cuff. When they did the by invitation only, what did they do? If you remember back in Hotmail, some of you might be too young to remember this, but they had an email, and if you had the free Hotmail account, it said, P.S. We love you. Want to get your own Hotmail account. Do you know that they got millions of users in like 24 months with that simple by invitation only PS message? What if you put your own PS messages, and like you have a team, and you might have a team member when someone sends a customer service request, for example, and you want to acknowledge it, so you have the bounce back message that says, thanks for your inquiry. One of our staff will respond to you within 24 hours or less. P.S. And now you put an invitation to move forward with you with some kind of an offer, just like Hotmail did, one of the bigger companies in the world. Well, Microsoft. Google, by the way, they liked the method so much. What did they do? They knocked it off. They did a by invitation only. You guys may remember when they launched Gmail, you actually had to, number one, you had to get the invitation, and then there were companies or people selling the ability, like for $400 or $500 to get a Gmail account because of this exclusive invitation, right? But they did a very similar thing with the PS, and they generated, I believe it was like 30 million users in 6 months by invitation only, right? So think of like what would happen for you to create your by invitation only methods. You could put it in every email you ever send moving forward. PS, here are a couple ways we can help you. 1, 2, 3. If you don't have 3, just put 1. That's what Hotmail did, right? Your team could be sending back bounce back messages when it's a reply mail, right? When that bounce back goes out, PS, here are a couple ways we can help you. 1, 2, 3. By invitation only. It's subtle, it's understated, and it's not a sale. It's an invitation, an offer, and it's more of someone buying, right? Because someone who clicks onto that is curious. In other words, the other idea of this, Aaron, I could spend an hour on this, so I'm going to cut it in a second. Think of your offers moving forward as invitations and designed to pique interest. That's it. Pique interest. So it's asking a question to get the pique. Hey, Raheem, are you interested in seeing this new amazing, movie called Wonder Woman 84? Pique interest. If he's not interested, he's not going to click on it. But if he is, he would hit on it. Right? So depending on the problem, here's another challenge. Most people, again, sell in terms of benefits and outcomes. They don't do the other side of the pain or the whiskers to avoid. And here's the number one question to be asking. What is the problem you solve? And ask it as a question. Like ours, for example, I'm just Shameless self-promotion right here. If you come into our ecosystem, you're going to see our constant messaging is, do you need help getting a steady flow of new clients? If yes, we can help. And we've got a couple ways we can help you. Right? That's the problem we saw. We help companies get new clients daily and build the operating system to do that. So what is the problem you solve that you could state as a question, go, here are a couple ways we could help you, and boom, now you got this. Then you could flip that into making an invitation for them. Do you know of someone who would like to solve this problem? By invitation only. So anyway, Aaron, you think that covers it good enough?
Yeah, that's great. I think that's really helpful. Yeah.
And then we'll build on that. So here are 4 components of a great offer. It gets attention. Right? Number one, it gets someone's attention. Why? Because it speaks to their problem. Right? It speaks to their problem in their way of saying it. Number two, it builds interest because it speaks to them. We'll talk more about this too. Step 3, it creates desire. It really fuels the desire. You know, most people have heard this old adage. This is another BS thing. You know, find a need and fill it. Have you guys ever heard that? Another crock of nonsense that will take you down the path to broke. There's a lot of people who need to lose weight, who need to quit smoking, who need to do a lot of shit. And they don't do it because they don't want to. Find the people who want it. Done right, your messaging will create the desire because it will attract, like a magnet, the people who want it. You want to look for what my friend Joshua says are aholics. Find the aholics in your niche who are starving to find the solution to their problem. Right? So create desire. Number 4, action. Call to action. Ideally, you start getting more confidence and clarity around being okay with making invitations or piquing people's interest to get them to take action. You know, we're all training behavior in our businesses. And again, if you think of that chart that I drew, warm up, offer, invitation, follow up. Every business is built on that. I'm going to give you some real practical. These are principle-based strategies right now. And I'm going to give you some tactical things in a couple minutes, if that's all right. All right. Now, by the way, all of you may have heard of this formula before. It's, this was invented a long time ago. It's called the AIDA formula, right? The AIDA framework. Now, you may have heard of it before, but do you know who the creator is? Do you know who the creator is and when? Elias St. Elmo created it in 1898. Goes all the way back. So it's principle-based. It's timeless. This methodology works, right? It'll work for you if you put it in place too. Now, let me give you a couple examples that are outside of the SaaS industry, because again, if we take things outside of like the SaaS industry and you start to think, well, what if I incorporated this into my SaaS business? How would this change the game, right? You're offering a unique, innovative experience for your clients, by the way. You know, user experience is incredibly important, right? How about IX, innovative experience, right? Focus on that, innovative experience, and it's amazing. So this is for a carpet cleaning offer. Like, what's the last thing any of us want? Carpet cleaning. So that's why I put it up here, because it's so like out of the box, right? So look at this ad, attention. Over on the right side, it's got an irresistible offer. It's free carpet estimate, free room of cleaning, free bottle of spot remover, right? He's removing the risk, 100% ironclad risk-free guarantee. Now he's stating some benefits. Now he also makes it easy to slide into his world by saying, consumer warning, don't call any XYZ SaaS company until you've heard this 24-hour free recorded message. Don't contact any XYZ SaaS business until you hear or watch this video, url.com. He's got a testimonial. He's got an image of warmth. Right? And this is an old school yellow pen. And I do it for a reason, so you can see what would happen if I take something with proven principle-based strategies that works. This works not only in Yellow Pages still today, believe it or not. It works online. It'll work everywhere, and it can work for you too. Right? So let's go to another.
One thing I want to add to that is most of you are looking at that ad and thinking, that is one hell of an ugly ad. Isn't that the first thing you thought was, man, what an ugly, where's all the pictures, you know? Where's all the fonts and the graphics? But that type of ad is so incredibly effective. not just in Yellow Pages. Just it's been applied to so many different things like display ads, Taboola, so I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. Another example is a book model, free plus shipping. And there's lots of companies using this to bring in SaaS clients. Dean Graziosi, get your free hardcover copy book of the Millionaire Success Habits, 4 amazing bonuses, etc. Right? He's the number one seller of books. And now he also has built his software company generated 20,000 clients in a launch they did last year. Right? Which for a $2,000 software that you paid up front for, 20,000, right? Using the strategy we're showing you right here, right now, right? Another sample, furniture. Again, trying to get you outside of just your world, get you to look at other, it works in physical products too, like furniture, for Christ's sakes, risk-free plus shipping they do. This company does, and you've seen different versions because a lot of companies are knocking this company off, but they're doing a comparison, 100 nights in your home, which is what they do, a trial, risk-free trial, versus like going into the store, skip the awkward 5-minute, mattress store with, you get 100 nights in home mattress trial to make sure your purchase was the right. You get 100 night mattress trial begins when it's delivered. Like they're taking, again, is it creating a feeling of results in advance? And is it removing or minimizing the risk, right? Again, what would happen for you if you create your irresistible offer? So I want you to write a note down, like what is an irresistible offer, a nuance that you can create? Write it down right now, like something new, at least a test. Just be willing to say, I'll try. Just be willing to say, I'll test. I'll give it a shot. I'll try it. What's the worst that could happen if you try it? That irresistible invitation or irresistible offer doesn't work. We've all had offers that don't work. So just give it a try with a new approach, a new way of thinking about it.
Dan, can I add something in here real quick?
Yes, sir.
A lot of you are thinking, I bet right now a lot of you are thinking, oh, shoot, I have to guarantee some huge, big result for my clients.
Nope.
Like I have to deliver, the best experience, or, $1,000 or 1,000% revenue increase or whatever. And some of you are selling a service that's like, well, we can't really promise something really huge like that. So Dan, how would you address that? If I don't have a big, huge result that I'm promising, how can I do this?
Great question. So a couple examples. First of all, people don't usually want the glop that you're thinking they want. They want the emotional benefit from it. So what are the emotional benefits? And focus on that as the guarantee. This gives you greater sense of simplicity than any program you've ever tried, or we'll continue to work with you for no extra charge. So I didn't even do a money back version there. And I'm doing this off the cut. You'll get a sense of clarity, simplicity, and confidence with our software program, or your money back. So it doesn't have to be some huge promise. It can be based on the emotional benefit, right? You could call it many of our clients, we have helped them design what's called their triple promise and guarantee, which is along the lines, Aaron, of what you're talking about, where it's not really like big, giant, gargantuan results. It's around, the fact that you're going to understand that you are important to us, right? And we're going to hold your hand. We call it our holding your hand promise. That when you send us a request, our team will get back with you in 24 hours or less, all the time, every time, 7 days a week, right? We've got another, that's one part of the triple promise and guarantee. Another part of that promise, we've got another firm we're working with where it's related to the fact that they're not going to experience scope creep, not only in price, but also time. We guarantee that the quote we give you is the quote we give you. And with an asterisk by it, by the way, right? If you supply us the information, we'll give you the quote as far as the price. And if that price needs to be adjusted, we'll inform you before any decisions are made, so there's no unexpected bills or service. They're basically taking things that you would do anyway, but they're just packaging them in a way to speak to like the concerns that most people have with different use scenarios, right? So I could give dozens and dozens.
Yeah, and I don't want to point out, because this is so great. I'm like so many ahas I hope are happening for you guys. But how many of, I mean, 30-day trial, 14-day trial. Everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing a 14-day trial. Everybody's doing it. It's not like exclusive anymore, right? How can you reduce the risk even more than a 30-day trial or 14-day trial? Like how can you make that trial or that period where they can get a result even more risk-free for them, that it would just make no sense for them not to try it. You know, we can discuss ideas, but I hope your mind is turning on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And by the way, how often are you testing the types of trials you do? I've done a lot of testing on this, and obviously we don't know until we test. So you'll never hear me say, this is the only way to do anything. No, it's all a test. And until we test, we don't know. That's the reality. Even when you've done really well over a history, a long period of time, 30 years, which I've been doing this for 30 years. You don't know until you test. But here's what I can suggest. If you haven't revamped your trial offer, maybe you've been at a 14-day, 30-day, or whatever. Well, when's the last time you tested a 3-day versus that offer? Now, your inhibition might say, well, a 3-day is not going to convert as well as 14 because they have more time. Test. I found time and time again with some of our software clients and even our own stuff that we built that a 3-day trial outperformed all of it exponentially. And it doesn't make any sense, but that's why you test, right? So what, again, to Aaron's point, like what could you do? Another thing, I brought up Dean Graziosi. They got 20,000 software clients in their business selling a paid in full version. Now, I've got a friend, and I'm not going to mention his company or his name, but it's a company and a brand you would know of. He's someone I mentored early on in his business when he was just, their company, him and his partner were just offering website sales. And, we kind of said, well, what could you do to productize this and build it as a SaaS, a software as a service? And so he ended up creating a model that is really amazing. He's got an amazing company doing amazing. You guys probably know of him, but I'm not going to mention his name because when we work with our clients, we do NDAs. So I was speaking to him at lunch here not too long ago, and I said, like, knowing what you know now, like, what's something that you would do different today than when, say 2 years ago? And he goes, running my software as a service, he goes, I would start by charging in full for a year instead of doing month to month. Now, I don't know if this applies to you, and I don't want to send you down wrong rabbit holes, but if Dean Graziosi generated over 20,000 clients, and the only option was to charge in full for a year, and then they ended up, after that offer went through its launch period, then they offered like a few installments, like 5 installments, but not the typical month to month to month to month. Now, some of you don't have a service that would fit that, but again, outside the box thinking. Now, are you guys learning some good stuff here so far, I hope? Has this been
Can I get like a heck yeah in the chat? You guys digging this, or like put a poop emoji? Poop emoji if it is a waste of your time, and then a heck yeah if it's super good. There's only 2 options here.
That's right. Booyah, booyah, Shazam, hell yeah. So one of our clients works in medical technology, and we helped him revamp his offer. He went from 500 a month clients to 5,000 a month plus performance percentages on top, right? And, he says, the concept that we've shared with him on this has been worth millions, revamping the offer structure for that technology. What's the difference? Having a killer irresistible offer. So how would having your irresistible offer, a new up-leveled irresistible offer, change the game? And if you've already got a great one, then just build another one. Call this the control, whatever you've got in place. Even if it's not that great, but it's bringing you some clients and some revenue, keep the control. Create a variation and come up with something new. Ideally, you've gotten a few ideas to be able to do that. Now, we've just gone through strategy 1 of 5, by the way. So, Aaron, I got to.
Sorry, we're way behind. We're way behind schedule right now because this is so interesting. I mean, we can keep going. You guys can stick around. It's up to you, Dan. Really, we can keep going. Let's keep going until.
I'm going to dive into strategy 2, and we'll just check in.
Yeah, right? if I see somebody's head explode in the video, then we'll stop. But unless that happens, we'll keep going.
All right. Strategy number 2, the simple approach to blank. So you immediately get more clients, revive old leads, and reduce churn, right? So why is this important, right? you have a lot of competition. Aaron was speaking about this earlier, and all of you know this, right? There's a lot of noise probably in your space. There's a lot of distraction, overwhelm, a lot of people feeling burnout, the economy, all kinds of things, COVID. So I just want to share a quick story. So a few months back, one of our private clients, I was doing some research to help them choose a software. And you know both of these brands, but I won't mention them, but I want to give you the experience of this, right? And I want you to be thinking, like, what could I do to make my experience even better? ROIQ, return on interaction. So these two companies, we went through their process, signed up, did their free trial on both of them. One of them started sending their normal follow-up emails, right? Educating, blah, blah, video, all good. Amazing, robust, like obviously they had an automated sequence. The other company had similar things, but they did one thing smarter, faster, better. They had a concierge, in addition to their canned automated emails, they had a concierge on the team reach out separate of it. So I got 2 emails a day for a few days, but it was the concierge. I've been assigned as your personal concierge. There's some things we want to make sure you don't miss out that many clients tell us that they wish we would have told them. Again, now speaking to the whiskers problem and not the outcome. I'd love to spend 5 minutes with you and walk you through a few of those things. I was like, wow, that's a really personal communication. I really love that, or a humanistic communication. I really love that. But of course, I'm busy. I'm running businesses and working with our clients, etc. The next day, I got another message. Hey, I'd love to just check in. Here's a link to my calendar to book it. And next thing you know, I see a number come up on my phone and I don't recognize the number. So I don't answer it, probably like what you would do. And I get a voicemail. I listen to it like later in the day, and the message is really warm and says, hey, I'm so-and-so. I've been assigned as your personal concierge to help you walk through our software. Wanted to make sure, because there's some hidden things in it, that we'd like to help shortcut the gaps, right? And love to just spend 5 minutes with you to walk through it and make sure we help you get the most out of it. I sent you an email. You can book a time, etc. Again, I'm busy. I didn't respond. Next day, I didn't get another email, but I got the phone call and I recognized the number, and I was between appointments. I had like 15 minutes between appointments, and I saw the number, and the message was so damn good and the emails were so personal and humanistic. I took the call randomly, jumped on the call, and this guy goes, yeah, Dan, I'd love to walk you through. Can we do a screen share real quick? He got me on the screen, and at 5 minutes, he cut it, and he goes, hey, Dan, out of respect for your time, it's been 5 minutes. I don't want to break a promise. I'd be happy to go through a little bit more. We could schedule another time, or I may need 2 or 3 more minutes, and I can walk you through a couple other quick nuances. I said, go ahead, right? And I gave him another 2 to 3 minutes. Now, the long and the short of it is, all of you have software companies, and all of you have bought products and services, and all of you may offer your products and services in different ways. Which one of those software companies do you think I bought from? For my client. The second. Why? They humanized it, right? Both of them had the automation. Automation is good, but if you want to go from good to great, in the words of Jim Collins, you got to do things different. And one of the ways to do things different is to humanize the experience. And if you want to get more clients, revive old dead leads, and reduce churn, what are some of the strategies you can utilize to humanize it? We call this the campfire approach, and we don't have enough time to go into all the details, but if you think about it, like when I got started at this, I got schooled in this in the late 1980s. Like, I'm dating myself. Yes, I'm in my 50s. And it was different then. Like if there was a fireplace over here, I have all these little things here. I'm holding a match here. You might be wondering why I'm holding this match. I wanted to get your attention, number one. Number two, I want to help you ignite new ideas. So anyway, if there's a fireplace over here, when I got started in the 80s and I had my first company in 1992, and I strike this match and throw it in the fireplace with marketing, like an ad or a TV ad or a radio ad or a direct mail ad, you could throw the match in the fireplace and it would catch, and directly match 1 TV ad created result, right? Today, it's a little different. Buyers are more sophisticated. Consumer behavior is different. There's all kinds of confusing platforms, thousands of them, in fact. So today, it's a campfire approach. What is that campfire approach? If we want to build a fire in the fireplace, the better way to do it, light the match, get paper burning, get some kindling on top of it. It burns, gets hot, get some branches put on top of that, and then set the log on top. Time and time again, so many people are using old, outdated marketing. You may be learning from people who have outdated marketing. If you're working with Aaron, you're learning strategies like the campfire method in his own way, where it's about building the kindling, humanizing it. So what could you do to create that humanized approach in your communication? And what would happen for you if you do? Right? What would happen if you do? What if you just added the concierge follow-up email in your system and a phone call? And oh, by the way, you can automate that too with voice broadcast so that only the people you might have the ability, because maybe you've got a lean, small team, because you might be thinking, well, Dan, you don't understand. It's just a couple of us. I don't have big teams to do all that. You could do a voice broadcast, and then when people respond, it becomes an inbound opportunity. Aren't inbound opportunities even more fun to sell anyway or enroll? Of course they are. So you create more inbound opportunities by humanizing the experience, right? Thinking outside the box. Is that a good strategy? How many of you like that one? All right, let's go to strategy number 3, because these all kind of build on each other. The campfire method literally goes through the rest of these. How to blank by blankety blank with inquiries and convert 4 out of 10 additional clients, right? Now, why is this important? This approach is zero cost to you. And your competition is likely too lazy and too cheap to do it, frankly, right? That other strategy is similar. Your competition is too lazy and too cheap to add the phone call. But that I imagine that company will be exponentially bigger than the competitor that's also a big brand name, but they will dwarf them over time. There's no doubt about it because of the humanistic approach. So I want to share a SaaS client case study real quick. One of our clients who has a SaaS business, they did the standard kind of trials and we helped them revamp, and we found that 3, by the way, worked better than 7 and 14 days, surprisingly. But in addition to that, we added this piece, right? The blankety blank that I'm going to talk about, right? And after we put the blankety blank in place, they were enrolling 4 out of 10 who hadn't converted online. Why? How many of you guys ever get leads that come in, they go through your automated model, but they still hadn't converted? All of us, if we've ever been in lead gen business, right? Well, what would happen if you actually took those leads that came in? And there's 2 approaches to this. One is on the front end and one is actually as a client. I'll get to that in a second, right? So all those leads that come in and don't convert right away, what if you added the phone call outbound to them and actually had a person who was assigned as a concierge to essentially warm up, cultivate, and enroll? We have found in almost every single example, regardless of industry, that when you add that extra human touch, because people want connection, they want trust and respect. And you can't mimic trust and respect as well on the phone, person to person, almost belly to belly, artificially, as automated videos, emails. So many people rely on automation and email, and they're automating themselves right out of business. Pick up the damn phone, right? And so this strategy is how to optimize by following up with following up by phone with those inquiries and convert 4 out of 10 additional new clients, right? Just by calling and saying, hey, I noticed you hadn't moved forward. What questions do you have? Or you speak to the whiskers and you speak to the cheese for them, for your product, for your service that you offer, right? Another optimization of this, we've had several clients who use this next optimization strategy recently. How many of you generate trial sales and or sales online and you generate a client? Well, what if you called each of those clients and your competition is too cheap and too lazy, but you called them physically and said, congratulations, you've made a great decision to move forward. Now, again, if you're so much of a lean team, you can do this by voice broadcast too. But if you can call them and say, congratulations, you made a great decision to be a part of XYZ family in our company. We look forward to working with you. We wanted to just walk you through what you got started with so you're clear. Like, think about that. Even if you just left that as a message, when's the last time you bought something here in the last 30 days, holiday gifts or otherwise, that you got a phone call to thank them or congratulate them? Congratulate you for the decision. It's rare, isn't it? Be rare and invaluable. This is a way to be rare and invaluable, but here's the key to it, how you turn it into a profit maximizer or optimizer. Here's how it goes. They're on the phone. Walk them through. Here's our customer service info. Here's our email, right? Here's our help desk, phone number if you need anything. We've got a whole army of people ready to help you if you need to have any questions. By the way, while I've got you on the line, what I do like to do is run an idea by you. If it works, great. If not, no problem. You know, you got started with our monthly program. And this is a non-published structure that I want to share with you. But how great would it be if I could get you 2 years of our program for equivalent to 13 months? And now what you do is you shorten the sales cycle and you also maximize cash flow. So you make an invitation that makes sense. And again, you got to structure the right thing for you. And all of you are in different businesses. So you have to decide, like, what is that offer? What is that upsell? It could even be just an enhancement. It doesn't have to be you extending membership or the pricing discount, right? But you can accelerate. Like one client we've got just did this. They offered a 3-year discount for 1 year and generated over 6 figures of new business in like 2 weeks with that offer, with the holiday special. Now, again, that may fit your business or not, but don't miss the point of the tactic of those companies. Think of, like, what could you put in that could be that optimizer, using the phone follow-up, both for non-converted leads on the front end, but also your clients, and welcoming them and congratulating, get them red carpet, and then making a soft offer to enhance their value. This is the campfire approach combined with understanding, like, the dating journey we've been talking about. We're not going to have time to go through the full details of the dating journey, but hopefully we'll get a chance to connect at some point. We can walk you through the value of that. But what would happen for you optimizing the experience and adding the phone follow-up even more than what you do now? How would it impact your SaaS business? Think about that. And again, if some of you are so lean, I'm going to pretend some of you are just as you're a one-man band. I know most of you are not, but I want to, because you might be thinking, well, I'm small. You can do these with voice broadcast automation, leave the message, and then again, go hit 0 to connect with one of our team right now. Or you could just say, call me back right now. And then it becomes an inbound opportunity, right? So what would happen if you did this? What value, by the way, what if you had to estimate the financial impact if you put just these first 3 strategies in place for your business, and many of you have them in place at some level, but you made it even better? How would it impact you financially in the next quarter? Put some numbers. I always like to assess my time and energy based on, like, real numbers, not just like, oh, attaboy, give me a high five, but like real tangible numbers. It's not surprising when people put things like 50 grand, 100 grand, 250 grand. You know, had one gal put one of our strategies in place, took her 14 days to do it. She generated 40,000 in immediate revenue, and she knows that it will generate her. She feels that it will generate her over 2 million. So
and also, I want to add, sorry, Dan, I'm jumping in here, but your ROI on time for something like this is, the leverage is out of this world. We set up these emails or these voicemails, and it takes you about an hour to create one and set it up so that it goes out to every new trial. An hour of your time. Imagine, like, there's not much you can do in an hour that will bring this type of like humanization and personalization and increasing conversions. So the ROI on time is really good too.
Awesome. You guys ready for the best 2 strategies right now? All right, here we go. Strategy number 4, how to position yourself as a go-to authority and expert in your industry by blankety blank. Your process and your clients say the number one thing you need them to say to get and keep them as a client for the long term. What is the number one thing you want your clients to say? You get me. Quote from Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan says, people buy from us because they feel understood. They don't buy from us because they understand us. People buy from us because they feel understood. They don't buy from us because they understand our offer, what we do, right? So you want to get in their heart. So what can you do, right? Personalize and integrate it with a bit of romance, right? As silly as that might sound, add a little bit of romance to it. And we've been stacking on where we're building this campfire. Ideally, you can start to feel it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're like, this one strategy combined with this one strategy, combined with this one strategy, wow, creates a big giant campfire, right? Goes beyond email, guys. Goes way beyond email, right? Adding the personal phone calls, amazing strategy if you can do it, right? And by the way, I'll even share a resource because some of you might be going, well, I'd love to do that, but it'll cost too much because I've looked into it. We've got a strategic partner called Outbound 360, literally for less than $1,500 a month. They'll do your calls for you as your outbound center and do conversions. And they have built their model where you're paying more on performance than you are on a fee, right? And you get a fully trained team for $1,500 a month. Actually, it's a little less than that, by the way, right? So if you guys want that resource, let Aaron know, and we'll get you connected with Outbound 360. You can talk to them, and now you've got an outbound team who can do these things, and they will sell for you, right? And upsell for you or cross-sell for you or those sorts of things. But go beyond email. Beyond email, you're like everybody else. Now, that's okay if that's all you can do now. But I would encourage you to look at how many of these can you start adding in. Text messaging, right? Text, I've got a new little model because I'm a football coach. I coach 4 days a week. My son's team, he's 13 years old now. I've been coaching for 3+ years. And so we're starting to build a following in our community. And so I was like, well, why don't I just test all this stuff that I talk about and do it in something completely out of the box? So I built this model called westvalley7on7.com. And we're basically running Facebook ads to attract parents and their kids in our area based on zip codes that want access to some of the best football training for middle school kids in the world that they will not get anywhere else. Not because of me, but because of the coaches and the people we've got in our community, in our network, in our ecosystem. So they're coming in and we're doing the exact things. Text messaging. I've got a lady that is moving her son here next week from California because she wants her son, who's 12 years old, to come work with our coaching staff to get developed to play football, to be ready for high school, be ready for college. We're using these exact things. Text messaging, right? Personal text messaging works. You can get a system, and you guys probably know, some of you might even have the system. It's your business, but like one of our favorites is called call tracking metrics. You can do the texting, the voice broadcast, the automated type messages. It's an awesome CRM as well, believe it or not. Amazing technology to help simplify a lot of these things that maybe if you're a lean team that you couldn't do before. It's all in one place. Voice broadcasts. Real physical birthday cards. You'd be amazed. You can use a technology or service like Postable, and there's many of them, Simply Written and others. Literally, you get someone's birthday like a client, and you program it in there, and then you rotate the cards. But literally, we get messages every single month because we've got it set up. And if you come into our ecosystem, you'll see how this works if we get your birthday address. But not only do we recommend sending birthday cards, but physical mail like once a quarter, at minimum once a year, to stay in front of your clients and your best relationships. Can't underestimate the power of those things over time. Birthday videos. Like Nate and mine, a good client of ours, Joe Polish. Joe regularly records birthday videos and pre-programs them and sends them out online. It just makes an impact. Jib jab videos, as crazy as that might sound, it makes people laugh. It makes people smile. When you can make people feel good about your business and feel good about what you represent, you likely keep them as a client. And we'll talk about more of that. Canvas art. This is like an oddball one, but personalized canvas art to some of your best clients. Like, what do you do for your higher tier clients? Our clients get something like this. If you can picture a painting or, I don't know if an art piece, that's a memorable piece that our team went and researched on Facebook, where they had a lot of comments and it was obviously emotional connection. And our team will go then send this off to something like Simply Art, and they get this in the mail, right? What kind of impact do you think it makes to keep, retain, and attract clients, get referrals, and a whole lot more. This is the template that we've sent. Here's another client, Dr. Jeremy Weiss, who Aaron knows as well, right? We found this picture. His wife was featured in a big Forbes article, and so our team grabbed this, and we had this picture made, and we sent it to him. What kind of impact do you think this makes, right? You can do these small, by the way. You can do these big, anywhere in between, right? Start thinking ideally. Personalize the situation, because here's the reality. You might want to write this one down. I think I heard this from Dean Graziosi this way. Clients cancel transaction. They don't cancel relationships. Isn't that true? Right? So what can you do to build these tools in place to build your campfire or this dating model, which we won't have time to go into today, but the idea of the campfire, personal communication, personal relationship. So how to position yourself as a go-to authority and expert in your industry by personalizing and integrating your process, and your clients will say the number one thing you need to get and keep them as a client, which is, you get me. What will happen for you if you did integrate all of these things we've talked about and created this high-touch approach so that they felt that you got them, right? So let's just do a quick review as we wrap up. Strategy 1, get 10 times the results by getting your irresistible offer. Did you learn something good there that you could put in place and take action with, right? In fact, I want you to start typing in, what are some of your ahas or action steps? I'd love to see you type those in the chat window for Aaron and me as well, to make sure that we're providing and adding value to you. Number 2, the high touch, high conversion method that brings you clients and converts old leads while your competition quietly wonders if they'll make it another day or year. How do you do that? Humanize it. We gave you several ways to think about doing that. Strategy 3, the first thing to incorporate that gets clients and reduce churn. Optimize with phone follow-up, both on the warm-up stage as well as after they're a client. Number 4, the integrated approach to get clients to say, you get me. And not only do they order, they reorder and they stay clients. Personalize and integrate it. And then strategy number 5, we promise, is our bonus Q&A session. Now, let me speak to the elephant in the room. You might ask, well, will this work for me? And I'm not going to play this video, but I will just describe it in about 30 seconds. My son, Kyler, who you see pictured here, very blurry, had a project in one of his classes to create a TV commercial. And Kyler went and created the whole TV commercial himself. I didn't have any involvement in it whatsoever. It completely shocked me, completely frightened me when he did it. It was amazing. This video is the result of it. I ended up interviewing him, and I'd be happy to send this over to Aaron if you guys want to see it. But I asked Kyler, I said, like, what was your approach to go do this? And the short advice, he was 12 years old at the time he did this. He said, I went on YouTube and I looked up about 7 different commercials of other companies in the cleaning industry. And I looked at what they did. I noted what I liked, eliminated the things I didn't like, and then I put my version of it together as a best case scenario and came up with my commercial. There's a lot of wisdom that we can all get from kids. Would you guys agree? If a 12-year-old,
Z for hire?
Exactly. And in fact, I even say that in the video, which is if you're looking for a copywriter, you might want to hire someone as a child because they just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. So we talked to you about the idea of the perfect client system. It combines the campfire method with the dating method. Get to perfect clients for no additional cost. Get perfect clients on your list. Get perfect clients to buy. Shorten your sales cycle. Get perfect clients to buy more. Boost your long-term value. Get referrals due to the experience plus consistency. It becomes more meaningful and memorable. You build authority and you have a bigger impact with less stress. If that's what you want, I encourage you, put these things in place. Take action with it. It's all about the action. Return on implementation. Focus on your irresistible offer to make it even better. Focus on principle-based strategies more than tactics. Continue to build your list by providing value in advance. Build a steady flow of clients by making invitations and offers every day. Keep it simple. Humanize it, optimize it, personalize it. What's been the value for you today? If you could put a financial estimate on it and you're open to do it, type it in the chat window. If that's too bold and too daring, just rate it on a 1 scale, low, 10 high, 10 is highest, 1 is lowest. I'd love to just see your feedback and rating.
Yeah, this is helpful for me too, guys, to see kind of how valuable you find this.
Absolutely.
And we don't have any emotional attachment to the number. So if it's a 1, that's fine. We'll just kick you out and we'll never talk to you again. It's not a big deal.
Because at the end of the day, we all have choices in what we do or we don't do. And obviously I value your time, and hopefully you feel the spirit of that. And, our friend Joe Polish says you can have an elf business or a half business. A half business is a business that's hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And it kind of looks like that image on the right, like constipation, sitting on the dome, half. Or you can have an elf business, which is the image on the left. Easy, lucrative, fun. How much more easy, lucrative, and fun do you think it would be by putting these strategies and these ideas and insights in place in your business? We've given you 4, and I just asked you to think, how would it impact you moving forward? How would it impact you in 2021? How would it impact you the next 5 years, right? And as long as you're open to it, Nate and I are going to open this up to a Q&A session. And before we do, I want to make an invitation. And Aaron, I literally just put this together, so we don't have any fancy pants offer or any fancy pants methodology. But I said, Aaron, we've gotten a chance to know each other. What can I do to help your community? And we have a program that we do. It's called the Perfect Client Blueprint. You can go check it out at perfectclientblueprint.com. But when you do, don't go buy it. I'm doing the worst sales pitch in the world right now. Don't go buy it. It's our $5,000 program, and people buy it all the time. It comes with a 2-day workshop. We're going to do our 2-day workshop in March. We're still working on finalizing the dates. What I mentioned to Aaron, hey man, what if as a bonus for your current and active clients who are in your community, I allow them to participate and be in the Perfect Client Blueprint at when we get it set up, there'll be a $1 charge. So $4,999 savings. So your clients just continue to feel the value you're providing. And ideally, they're even looking to move deeper into the accelerator program. So if some of you would like to participate in our 2-day workshop, go much, much deeper on the Perfect Client Blueprint models we've been talking about today. Aaron's going to gift this to you. How do you take advantage of it? Again, we don't have a fancy pants funnel set up. You send an email to help@breakthrough3x.com. That's on the screen, help@breakthrough3x.com. Just let us know that you came from Aaron's community here. Say, I want the workshop and the training, and we'll go ahead and get you the details, right? And we'll do that after the holidays, by the way. So send it today. Let us know. And, if you do want to understand more about what it is all about, just go to Perfect Client Blueprint. But like I said, don't buy off of there because you won't get the discount through the page. Send us the email. We'll make sure you're comped in as a gift from Aaron. And hopefully you guys give Aaron a kudos on that as well, because it's a pretty cool synergy and strategic thing to be doing. So with that, you guys want to open it up to Q&A, Aaron?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. That's awesome.
You bet.
Nathan, we didn't get to really hear from you, and I was excited to hear from you. Dan, obviously, I heard before, and I was still as good as I remember. And hopefully, everybody got some good insights from that. And we'll keep the discussion going in SaaS Visionaries. I wanted to ask Nathan real quick, what you've gotten a feel for our group a little bit, SaaS companies. Can you just give us some of your thoughts on what you've been able to do in your businesses and how that might apply? Just not really sure what question to ask you, but I was hoping to get some of just your wisdom. Yeah.
Probably the stuff that would make the most sense here is what Dan was talking about, is humanizing what you do. I'm in the e-commerce space, and we sell a seasonal product that's kind of an outdoor game product, and we typically sell about 40,000 a year-ish, right around there. And so the thought of humanizing it was daunting because we thought it would be very overwhelming and maybe not worth the effort. But as you guys know, most likely you're consumers on the Amazon marketplace, so reviews are the lifeblood of that space. And Amazon continues to hamper and cut down and control how that's done. And so we were trying to come up with a way that's completely, separate of their platform to where we could have a lot more control in that area. And what we decided to do was to do an insert that just simply said, text this word, and we'll text you a video, a setup instruction video of exactly how to do this so that your kids can get get to playing as fast as possible. Real basic, no pitch, no offer. But I mean, I guess to Dan's definition, that is an offer. It's an invite to get more information. So then they would hop on, and it was me. And I was like, hey, we're the inventors. There's two of us. I mean, I think there's a lot of power in not trying to act big.
Yep.
Like being who you are. It really connects with people. And I was like, if you text in, if you have questions, just text us back to this number. We will respond personally. It's either me, my business partner, or our assistant. And they really liked that. And then, so we went through the video, showed them how to do the product. And then at the end, we're like, hey, to extend your warranty, go here, and we'll actually text you a link. So it's very easy for you to just click the link, put in your name, some information, and you'll extend your warranty for 2 years. And then what that did is it put them into an automatic drip system to ask for a review a couple of weeks later. And what we found was we are getting 10% review rate, which may not sound all that amazing, but typical in e-commerce is about 0.1%. And so for it to jump that much, just simply doing this little thing was pretty massive. And then an hour after they sent that initial text, we have an automated one that shoots out, and it says something along the lines of, hey, how did it go? Because we assumed that if they're texting for setup instructions, they're going to set it up right then. And so we were able to capture them at the peak of their emotional state, right? So either it worked and they were super happy, their kids were playing with it and they're overjoyed, or it broke and something went wrong and they were ticked because their kids had all this anticipation for this product and it didn't work. And so we're able to capture them at that peak emotional state and fix it really quick, which would then flip the negative, or the positive, we could really drive home, leaving a review. And anyway, it was kind of fun. A lot of times they would respond to the text messages with a question, thinking that it was still automated. And I'm like, I just wish I could get somebody other than a computer. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry that I sound like a computer, but I'll try better. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't realize this was like real. But to go back to the point, like 40,000 customers and being inundated, it didn't happen. It took our assistant probably at the max 3-4 hours a day, which may sound like a lot, but man, to go from 0.1% in reviews to 10% was totally worth the investment. So,
wow, that's cool. And not many people are doing that, right, Nathan? For your particular product or industry, I just ordered a toy. Exact same thing happened to me. Ordered it, it broke down. Had to get a new one. That one broke down. Now I'm just like super frustrated about it, and it just And I think the trick here is you have to have a really good product too, right?
Yeah.
You have to really have a good product and stand behind your product, and do what no one else is doing to get the results no one else is getting.
The cool thing is, like on Amazon, it's a commodity, like not a commodity, but they're trying to ram price down, right, constantly. And so competitors really, they're too, like Dan said, they're too lazy or too cheap to implement something like this. So it's kind of easy to step above that. But then also, because of the experience they're getting, the level of reviews are really, really high. And so it's easy to position yourself as a premium product. And so you maintain your margins, you get better reviews. It's just, it helps in so many different areas. So, yeah.
And we have G2 Crowd, Capterra. You even have, how many of you could benefit from 100 extra reviews or testimonials from your product, or 50 or 10? This is the kind of thing that, to get a free month, instead of registering your product, right, to get a free month or to get whatever, let us know how you love the product. You can use video ask, or just say, hey, just send us an email with how your thoughts on the product. We'd love to, feature you in our customer showcase or whatever, So anyways, there's lots of ways you can implement that. So thank you, Nathan. Let's open it up for any questions.
A question for Nathan real quick. By the way, thank you, Dan. That was amazing.
That segment was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah, it's so cool to be able to see how you can apply proven principle-based methodologies, practices, and systems in all kinds of industries. We've been able to work with over 4,000 different types of company, 180 niche industries in over 12 countries. And so guess what does that mean? This can work, and it can work for you. Regardless of where you've been, regardless of your background, it just matters where you want to go. And if you're looking for a way to go further, to go faster, right, to apply and implement some of what we're talking about, to have a proven operating system for sales and marketing installed and implemented and run for you in your business, many clients choose to have us as their virtual CMO or virtual CEO to help them grow their business with less stress and have way more impact. Many times we triple the business with less stress and far more impact. If you'd like to take the first step to learn how we can help do that for you, then you can take advantage of our 100% free consultation and strategy call right now. You can go to breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. Book your time. We'll see if we're a right fit. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to go, and talk about a game plan to help you get there. And if we've got a good fit, we'll invite you to move forward. Also, if you want to come back to this episode, you can do that at growthtofreedom.com/309. That's growthtofreedom.com/309. If you never want to miss an episode, go to growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. That's growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. That's it for today. Seize the day. Make it a great week. We'll see you next time on growthtofreedom.com.
Thanks for listening to this episode of growthtofreedom.com. Are you struggling to get a steady flow of new clients every day? Or maybe hit a plateau or hit a wall in growing your business? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's review your business and have a conversation. You can do that for free today at breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. In addition, if you're looking for a simple way to implement some of what we've been talking about in today's episode, I want to encourage you to get our free small business toolkit. You can get that at activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit growthtofreedom.com.